Because what really builds power in your spirit, man, it's not just those spot instances where you show up today to pray for 5 hours, then you show up, in 3 weeks' time, you pray for 3 hours, then you show up 2 weeks, then you pray for 10 hours. Like, that's not really what builds you. Hello there, welcome back to this channel. You are watching The Reset with Amy. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Amy, and on this channel, I create content for women to recharge, repair, and refresh spiritually, mentally, and physically towards a powerful and wholesome life and walk with God. So if this is the sort of channel that you like, if this is sort of the content that you enjoy, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to give this video a thumbs up because I can promise you it's going to be good. Also grab the link, share it with someone else, and let them be blessed. So with that said, let's get into the video for today. Today, I want to address something that I come across a lot, especially in our ministry. So by the grace of God, my husband and I run 2 ministries, and part of what we do there involves discipleship and training. And along those lines, by the help of God, we've developed 2 prayer training programs, and we've had a ton of people go through these prayer training programs. But one thing that I found to be sort of a common question or a common concern for people is mastering or really just building that prayer life. And so I want to share today what I believe to be the #1 secret that either makes or breaks your ability to build a prayer life. So for a lot of people, when they go through our trainings, they're very fired up. They hear a lot of great information. They get better understanding of prayer, why they pray, how they pray, how to pray, things like that, And so they're very excited. They want to jump into it and start right away. And then somewhere along the lines, they start struggling. Because what really builds power in your spirit, man, it's not just those spot instances where you show up today to pray for 5 hours, then you show up, in 3 weeks' time, you pray for 3 hours, then you show up 2 weeks, then you pray for 10 hours. Like, that's not really what builds you. If you can be consistent every day praying for 30 minutes, you will likely see more change in your life than these bursts. I know when we listen to people who have been praying and maybe who are intercessors who've been doing this for decades, something in us feels very excited, something in us feels very charged, and we want to jump in and we want to do that. But I'm telling you that these people did not start out praying that many hours. They prayed till prayer became a habit. It became a thing that they could not but pray. But they started with the basics, which is consistency. Now, the question is, how do I get consistent? One of the things that I find that you have to pay attention to when you're still trying to master consistency is convenience. I know it does not sound like a popular word when you're talking about prayer and spiritual discipline, because we always like to say, it's really about sacrifice, it's about stretching yourself and things like that. And don't get me wrong, that is very true. But my thing is, you need to get consistent. That is your baseline, right? And the only way you're going to be able to successfully establish that consistency is if you have convenience built into it. So I find people would listen to someone and that person says, they pray at 12 midnight, or they pray at 9 p.m. or they pray at 5 a.m. and they try to follow that same schedule and it doesn't work for them, and they just can't keep showing up. Like, they show up for 3 days and then they fall off, and then they resume in 2 weeks' time and then they fall off. And the reason is, many times convenience is missing. Don't build your prayer life, don't build your prayer routine around someone else's, because chances are they have built their prayer routine around their lifestyle. So you need to take a look at what your lifestyle looks like and build your prayer routine. So for example, my husband loves to pray during the day. So he prays at intermittent times during the day, and I look at him and I'm happy for him and I admire that. But the reality is that the way my life is wired, as a corporate person, as a business owner, as a mom, as a minister, it is difficult for me to master the daytime prayer because there's a lot that gets thrown into my day. I may have a meeting today at 1 p.m. and maybe tomorrow I don't have that meeting at 1 p.m. And maybe for the next 2 days, I don't have anything for 1 p.m. But then for the next, number of weeks, 1 p.m. is blocked. So being someone who works in the corporate space and not having that 100% control over my time, I cannot follow the same prayer pattern as my husband. He's self-employed. He basically builds his own schedule. I don't always do that, because even if I say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to put something on my calendar at this time, something might come up. It might be like, a critical situation with a customer. And then, we have to hop on a meeting and stuff like that, right? So these are things that you have to keep in mind. So while I look at him and I admire that prayer pattern, that prayer schedule, I do not try to follow that. I have my own prayer time. I have my own prayer schedule, and it works for me. So for some of you, you might hear someone say, oh, they pray at 1 a.m. or at 12 a.m. and you want to do that. And you try to do it, but you can't keep up. Well, it's probably because you close your shift at 10 p.m. and you get home at 10:30 and you're tired and you say you're going to take a quick 30-minute nap and wake up to pray. And chances are you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. Look at your lifestyle, look at your schedule, and find where prayer can be built into it such that it's not getting tossed back and forth. If you can nail that time, if you can nail that piece based on what your schedule and your lifestyle is like, I'm telling you, you'll find improvement in the area of consistency. If you're a new mom, you just had a baby, chances are your schedule is out the window because you have a new boss. That new baby is your boss. They tell you when you can eat, sleep, take your bath, like all of that, right? So think about your life, think about your reality, think about your lifestyle, and build your prayer life based on that. But the convenience aspect is going to be the first piece. If you can't take care of that convenience piece and, fit your prayer life based on that, chances are you're going to struggle. And yes, as you grow, as you mature, you're going to come into that dimension of prayer that's more sacrificial. That's like, okay, it's not necessarily convenient, but I know that I'm supposed to do this. And you're going to be able to show up and do that. But in the beginning window, in the beginning period, you're still building this discipline. And the convenience is really what helps you build that discipline. So for people who are trying to build a discipline around working out, they have to take that into account. Is it more convenient for you to get in the car, get dressed up, get in the car and drive to the gym? Or is it more convenient for you to put on a workout video and work out right in the comfort of your living room? Think about it. So figure that out and build your prayer life around, what's convenient for you. And you'll find that you will have an easier time being consistent. Now, I want to throw in a bonus here, right? Because I talk about consistency. And the reason I say this is because I like for people to have a fixed time when they pray every day. Because I feel like if you bounce your prayer time around like, oh, it's going to happen at some point during the day, it's probably not going to happen. So I like to advise people to do this as far as like building their prayer life and building a prayer altar is pick a fixed time. That's why the consistency is needed, because you need to be able to stick to it at that same time every day. And that's the reason you need convenience for that. But I do want to throw in a bonus for some people, because what I find that we share or we tell people a lot is, basically picking that prayer time. But another thing that you can do to help you be consistent is, as opposed to picking a specific prayer time, how about you try picking windows? Try to pick windows. So as opposed to saying, okay, I'm going to pray every day at 12 a.m., how about you give yourself a window and say between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., or between 12 a.m. and 2 a.m., or between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Try to give yourself a window. It might help you. For some people, this doesn't help. The way their brains are wired, they need something fixed that is like, go, And then for some people, they're better able to work with a window. So the reason why sometimes people don't keep that time, and then once they miss it, they're like, oh, I missed it already, is because they're not taking advantage of like prayer windows. So give yourself a window. I'm going to pray between so and so time. And you're going to pray for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. And you give yourself that window and say, okay, between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., between 12 a.m. and whatever, between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., you pick that window. And that way that you just need to find some time within that window to pray. It makes it easier. It takes the pressure off, and you're better able to show up like you're supposed to. So I really hope this has helped. I wanted to share this as a quick tip, as just a reminder that when it comes to prayer, you start from somewhere before you get to like wherever you see someone that you're like trying to pattern your prayer life after. You start where you are because everybody did the same thing. Everybody started where they were, okay? I hope this has blessed you. If it has, grab the link, share it with someone. Do not keep the good news to yourself. Share it with someone, put it on your social platforms so that other people can be blessed. Share the word by sharing the link of this video. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and thumbs up the video if it blessed you. Thank you for watching once again, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.